Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, the whole celebrity worship, cult of personality kind of thing? It's a little bit weird, I'm not super into it, never have been. It's actually a big reason of why I don't show my face. I personally don't ever want to become a public figure, but while it's weird and rife for corruption, it's also in a way necessary. You know, I understand why people gain such cult followings, because sometimes, especially as the little guy, you just love seeing somebody with substantial influence, telling it like it is, saying the truth, going against the orthodoxy. And I'd argue in today's day and age, we need more of it. We need more courageous people with tremendous influence willing to say the truth. We need thought leaders. And as time goes on, and well, that's exactly what we got with these two fellas. I mean, what an amazing dynamic. We have Joe Rogan and Dr. Phil sitting down together and breaking the internet as they discuss the idea of gender-affirming care. You know, the whole Dr. Phil celebrity worship and even the Joe Rogan celebrity worship thing, as I stated, it's a little bit weird, but boy, is it freaking necessary. Let me show you guys exactly why. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I actually want to start off this video by talking about Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know, Neil deGrasse Tyson is supposedly the science guy, the logic guy, the super smart, big brain thought leader, but Neil deGrasse Tyson, especially on this issue, decided that he was simply gonna push the woke dogma.
I say to you, somewhere I read that the United States was a land where we have the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Suppose no matter my chromosomes, today I feel 80% female, 20% male. I'm gonna put on makeup. I'm going to do that. Tomorrow I might feel 80% male. I'll remove the makeup and I'll wear a muscle shirt. Why do you care?
Yeah.
What business is it of yours to require that I fulfill your inability to think of gender on a spectrum?
He didn't have the courage to say the truth. Well, Neil, Mr. Science Guy, Mr. TV thought leader influencer guy, you missed the moment, you didn't read the room. You had your chance, you essentially probably close to ruined your career, but that's okay because we have Dr. Phil.
It's interesting they choose words like gender-affirming care. You know, that's interesting that they call it that, but really what they're talking about is hormonal therapy or sex reassignment surgery on children. And in fairness, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Endocrine Society, or whatever the exact name of that is, all of the major medical associations have signed off on this, Joe. They've signed off on it. And I have never seen those organizations sign off on anything with less information as to whether or not it does long-term harm of anything in my life. And when I ask about that, when I bring that up, then they immediately label you as transphobic. And I thought that the deal was first do no harm. And all of the European countries, you know, Sweden, Norway, they've all stopped doing it because they say, we cannot say in good conscience that this does no harm. Because it does harm. If you look at the long-term consequences, if someone changes their mind at 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, they can't decide which pajamas they want to wear at night. And their reason for doing it is it stops this drive for that there's an epidemic. It doesn't fix that. It doesn't fix all the comorbid issues that come along with feeling like they're in the wrong body. But yet they're pushing this, and we're going to do some shows that are already taped that are revealing what the real results of this are, and I think people are going to be shocked that these medical organizations have signed off on this. I think they've just given in to the pressure.
You know, Dr. Phil isn't even actually a doctor, and he certainly doesn't have all those fancy science degrees like Neil deGrasse Tyson has. He doesn't have decades of experience in scientific research, but he does have two very important things. First off, he's got the ability to critically think, and secondly, the ability to tell it like it is. In other words, the ability to be courageous in his honesty. He absolutely hit the nail so frickin' square on the head, it's not even funny. And it's not even like it's this difficult thing. Just simply apply basic rational thought and you come to this this conclusion. There is no other conclusion to come to. Oh, but this, that, and the other in fancy pseudo-academic terms. Blah, blah, freaking blah. You can go on the most intelligent-sounding leftist progressive argument monologue. You can monologue for hours and days. No matter what you say, you will never convince me. It will never happen because it's fundamentally wrong, and I know because I can feel it in my core. I don't need to read 1,000 research papers written by blue-haired leftists with a clear motive to come to an end conclusion here. It is wrong to support life-altering, body-disforming, irreversible procedures on people under the age of 18. Why? Because it is. Not exactly the most academic response, but it's the right response. And it's very easy to justify. A child's brain develops until roughly the early 20s. You change a lot, your experiences change a lot. Who you are psychologically, especially based on your environment when you're 15, 16 years old, is extremely different to who you are when you're a developed adult who's been properly socialized and is fully integrated into adult society. Your environment changes, your personal relationships change, and most importantly, you change. When you're young, you follow fads. You might have bad experiences at high school and you might feel like a total outcast. You might get bullied. You might be suffering through depression. And at the time, based on these fads and based on what people are telling you, you might be susceptible to rhetoric or to the idea that you're in the wrong body and that actually that's the core of your issue and that all you need to do to fix all of these problems, all of these underlying mental issues, all you got to do is change your gender. Do this physical altering procedure which literally removes your biological function, removes organs from your body. Just do that and you'll be happy. Trust me. The argument is that 14-year-olds should be doing this before they've fully developed because it's going to help them. And the left, the party of science, tells us that that's what the science says. Well, let me ask you, how does the science say that if it's all unproven and untested? If we don't have long-term studies on the effects of these kinds of procedures, if we don't have actual significant data which surveyed and followed enough people, a significant enough sample size over a long enough period of time, how could we even come to a scientific conclusion on the issue? Well, the answer is you can't possibly. It's literally not possible. There hasn't been enough studies, enough time to come to a conclusion on this very, very controversial issue. Yet you have medical experts who are essentially, what seems to me, disregarding their Hippocratic oath to do no harm, or I guess in this case from their view to potentially do no harm, because they've bought into the political ideology that's infested every aspect of life and every field of research and business. That right there is why I mentioned the Neil deGrasse Tyson thing. Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of those scientists. He's somebody who dropped objective truth and rational analysis and simply bought into the woke cultural political message, and in this instance, doing that can have serious negative repercussions. Those negative repercussions are obvious and significant. And so I guess going back to the initial point, that's why we need thought leaders. That's why we need people of influence and cult of personality. Can it become unhealthy? Can it be weird? Absolutely, but at the same time, it's important to have people who represent large groups of people and the majority sentiment. Otherwise, how could we challenge the current status quo or the current powers that be? The reality is that we have shadowy globalist figures behind the scenes attempting to force a cultural shift on us, and I'm just loving the spread of red pill thought as more and more people wake up every single day challenging the orthodoxy, challenging the progressive leftist status quo, and telling it like it is. Good on Dr. Phil. He's a TV Hollywood guy, but essentially he told the leftist Hollywood cultural Marxists today to essentially stay the hell away from our children, and so I guess from this day forward, I'm officially a huge Dr. Phil fan. Create the online fan club because I'm joining it. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.